Next, let's understand about the aquatic ecosystem. So basically, the aquatic ecosystem, let's say, primarily we can classify them based upon the salt concentration. So we can call them as freshwater aquatic ecosystem, brackish water ecosystem, marine water ecosystem. So freshwater. So why when can be called as a freshwater is basically when the water is tested if it shows less than 5 ppt, then it can be called as freshwater. Similarly, if it shows between 5 to 35 ppt units, then it is called brackish. If it tested more than 35 ppt, then it is marine. So simple examples are ocean is a marine, estuary, mangrove. These are all kind of things are brackish. Freshwater is like lakes, ponds, rivers. This which shows less than 5 ppt. So here let's understand in detail what is this ppt. So PPT means parts per thousand. So how it's defined is number of grams per liter. So here we're saying 5 PPT. So it means 5, there will be 5 grams of salt. There will be 5 grams of salt in 1 liter water. Means here the salt is less. If it is 35 ppt, then we will be having 35 grams of salt in 1 liter of water. Whenever we take a sample 1 liter of water, 35 grams of salt will be present, which is huge. It means that the salt concentration is more. So majorly the aquatic organisms there will be five. So which are neutron, necton, benthos, plankton, periphyton. So let's understand them through this figure. So this is the land biomass, and this is all the aquatic thing. So neutron, they basically swim on the surface. So here they will be present here. Neutron, Neutson, neutron. So they'll be present here. Necton. So necton is also similar to neutron, but they can swim on the surface and inside the surface. Necton, necton. And what is bentho? So these are the organisms that are attached to the bottom. So here there will be benthos. So we can say example is seagrass, and necton example is simply fish. And next is what is plankton and what is periphyton. So plankton, these basically flow on the surface water. So these basically flow on the surface water, plankton. And periphyton. So let's say there is some tree here, and on this tree a periphyton will be present. So these are attached to the plants. So example like algae. So these are majorly the five aquatic organisms. Like neutron is the one aquatic organism. Next is necton. Next is benthos, periphyton, plankton. So these five are the types of aquatic organisms that is present in an aquatic ecosystem. Now let's talk about the factors limiting the productivity of aquatic life. So the first major thing is sunlight. So when we consider any aquatic body, so let's say this is whole aquatic body, and there will be a sunlight coming from out external source. So there will be some region, let's say this is the separating region, so where sunlight will be received properly, and there will be an underground region which is beneath the aquatic uh, uh, system. So where there will be no sunlight. So this is called as an aphotic zone, and this is called as a photic zone. This is called as a photic zone. This is called as an aphotic zone. So in photic zone, there will be both photosynthesis and respiration takes place. In aphotic zone, obviously respiration takes place because there will be some or other kind of living organism that is present, but there will be no photosynthesis happening in aphotic zone. Next major factor is dissolved oxygen. So what does dissolved oxygen means? It is simply the amount of O2 present in the water. So if there is more amount of O2 that is available or present in the water body, then it has more dissolved oxygen. So simply let's say fresh water has in general 10 ppm. So here dissolved oxygen is measured in ppm, parts per million, which means here if we are saying 10 ppm, it means 10 mg of O2 gas is present in 1 liter of water taken. Okay, now let's understand the how the dissolved oxygen will be differing in cold water and warm water. So basically, cold water has more dissolved oxygen. Simple reason is it is difficult for the oxygen to escape from cold water. Hence, cold water contains more amount of oxygen accumulated. Thus, the reason cold water has more dissolved oxygen than the warm water. Simply, also similarly, the running water will have more dissolved oxygen than still water. Next, coming to transparency. So, whenever any suspended molecules, so any suspended particulate matters like clay, silt are present on the surface of water body, then basically it blocks the sunlight to enter to the below of uh, water body. So, it basically decreases the transparency. And the next factor is temperature. So any temperature fluctuations, any difference in temperatures is basically fatal to aquatic organisms that are present because the adaptability is difficult for them. So these are majorly the four factors which limit the productivity of aquatic life. So these all are threat. So having no sunlight and less dissolved oxygen present and having no transparency and having more changes in the temperature are threat to the aquatic life.